Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So, let's go back to debt. People will come to you and they will say, Ya akhi, debt is bad. Ya akhi, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to seek refuge from debt. And I will turn to him and I will say, Ya akhi, that is debt on something that's real, not on an illusion. Do you understand? America was in debt, real debt, yeah? Because back then, gold was the currency. It was backed by gold. Gold was the value. Gold was the worth. Yes? And when they were in debt, their debt was connected to gold. And gold was something that was real. It wasn't an illusion. It was real. And so what did America do, my brother? They left the gold standard so they can just print their money and supposedly pay their debt, which doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. This whole debt thing that you're crying about in the financial system, my brother, it does not exist. It does not exist. And the illusion of debt, yes, is the foundation of this financial system, my brother. You will not prosper in this financial system, my brother, without debt. You will not prosper without debt. But debt to who? Debt to those that print the money. You will not prosper in this financial game without being in debt to those that are able to print the money. Do you know why? Because they're able to print 1 trillion out. Can you print 1 trillion out? No, you won't, because you will be in trouble. Bad person. You will be put in jail. So these people saying, Ya akhi, debt on this. Debt is on something that's real, not on something that's an illusion. Riba is on something that's real. Okay? Riba is on something that's real. It's not on something that's an illusion. Do you understand? All these financial terms you're giving me, all these things and rulings that you're giving me, yes, I accept every single aspect of them. In the real world, not on some illusion, fake thing that has no value, that has no worth, that someone can just print on their computer and press 0 and press enter. No, I don't believe in that one bit. I don't accept that. I don't tolerate that. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in something that's nothing. I don't believe in something that's nothing. If you do, my brother, then that is on you. I don't care. That's on you. If you're so blinded to the reality of this world and you're deceived and you're caught up by all of this whirlwind, then that's your fault, my brother. That's not my fault. Don't push that onto me. That's your fault. And when they enslave you, and when your 50 years of working becomes zero because they're devalued, okay? And when you become poor and every single day you're always trying to earn that fiat currency to pay whatever it is, then don't cry and don't complain on anyone except yourself. Because the responsibility has been taken and it's just thrown in the sky. It's upon you to grab that responsibility and be responsible over your own actions, your own financial situation, your own actions, my brother. Don't cry and say the bank devalued my currency. I told you the bank was going to devalue the currency. Why are you crying all of a sudden? 50 years I worked to save $1 million, now my million's worth nothing. I could not care less, my brother, because the reality is, I told you, it's all a lie and it's a deception. You played the game. You clearly were stupid at the game because you didn't know how to play the game properly. You failed. Okay? And now, because it says game over, you want to start crying. Don't cry. Do not cry. Do not cry. Because it said game over. Don't cry. Don't be stupid at the game. Learn how the game operates. Learn how the banks operate. When you learn about how the banks operate, then you will know how the financial system works. Then you know how this game works. And if you know how the game works, then you play the game like those people. Because those people don't want to fail. Those people do not want to fail. Do you understand? Those people don't want to fail. They don't want this, you know. And you know what's crazy as well? When these banks get in big trouble, they're just going to say bankruptcy. That's it. No trouble, no issue, no nothing. You know, there's so much that I could speak about concerning this game. How they protect themselves. And how they look after themselves. And how they... And you look at the general person. General person does not know the game. That's why most of the agendas are pushed towards the masses. You see the masses, the agenda is pushed towards them. Enslaving the masses, they are the masses. Controlling the masses, they are the masses. Influencing the masses' behavior, they are the ones. Do you understand? Number 3, if you are going to, play the game, do not endorse the game and normalize it. Don't normalize the game. Don't make it seem like this is actually a financial system. Don't, riba and here and, this is Dane there, debt there, debt here, debt there. Don't normalize it. Don't. The more you normalize it, the more people are going to think, it's actually normal and I need to be careful how I tread. You need to be careful how you tread. You're not even on a surface to be treading. There's nothing on the financial system. You're not on a surface to be treading. What are you treading? I need to make sure I don't fall into riba. The foundation of the entire financial system is riba on steroids, on crack cocaine, okay? And you're trying to tread. You're not treading nothing. You are treading on riba itself. Do you understand? I'm trying to save myself from riba. I'm trying to save myself from interest. The entire foundation is interest. You're not saving yourself. So do not endorse it and normalize it. And if you ever are going to speak about this game, speak about it from the lens of the banks and how the game is supposed to be played. Okay? Like imagine someone created this game. They created the game. And now you're playing the game. You have to first know who created the game, how the game works, how the game operates. Because at the end of the day, if you fail, it's going to say game over. Imagine dealing in a riba-based financial system. It's a riba-based financial system. Riba on steroids, okay? Imagine engaging in a riba-based financial system and still game over, you still lose. Do you not understand? You're still a loser. It's like a person who chooses to be a gangster, okay? He chooses to sell drugs, but then he gets killed by a 13-year-old or an 11-year-old, and an 11-year-old is going to come and stab him up. Like, if you're going to be a gangster, at least be a good gangster. If you're going to be a gangster, at least be the boss. If you're going to be a gangster, at least be the top of the top. Imagine going out, I'm a roadman, I'm a gangster, I'm a this, and he gets stabbed by an 11-year-old. He gets killed by an 11-year-old. 11-year-olds back then were watching SpongeBob, but now they're getting killed by an 11-year-old. You don't understand? If you're going to be a gangster, don't endorse this gangster lifestyle. Don't normalize this gangster lifestyle. And if you're going to be engaged, don't be stupid at the game. Don't be just going out and getting killed by an 11-year-old. Do you understand? Do you understand? So this is what the general masses, they're going to say. Play the game, be stupid at the game, and endorse the game. And I'm going to tell you, don't play the game if you can. If you can't, don't be stupid at the game. Learn how the game operates. Learn how the banks operate. Play the same game that they're playing. Number 3, do not endorse it and normalize it. And if you ever are going to teach this to the people, teach it from this lens to teach the people how they should know and how they should work and how they should operate, so they does not say game over. Because if you're going to be a gangster, my brother, be a gangster and let it not say game over for you. Let it not say game over for you. And you see, in this instance here, you are far better than these people. Far better, far better, far better, far better. I respect you more. I honor you more. I will look up to you more than any of these people here. And these are the large majorities. This is the masses and their scholars, okay? Not my scholars, their scholars. These are their scholars. These are their people of knowledge that they look up to. Not me. That's their people that they look up to. I look up to those that actually have knowledge and those that actually know how the system works and how things actually operate. I do not look up to those people whatsoever. And I couldn't care less. So let the masses do what the masses do. Okay? Let the masses do what the masses do. And let the masses look up to who they want to look up to. This though. This. Understand this. Understand this because it's crucial, it's important. And when we die and we return to Allah and Allah questions us, yes, I promise you, my brother, you will be, if you're from here, on a greater standing than these people. I promise you, you are on a greater standing than these people. Because you will say, oh Allah, I knew this system was a lie and it was corruption. But I couldn't get out of it, oh Allah, I was chained in it. And because I was chained in it, oh Allah, I did not want to oppress the people, I just wanted to oppress the banks that were behind this system. I took all the debt from those banks, or loans, I took all the loans from those banks, and as the currency, oh Allah, devalued, the money they got back was actually devaluing, but the things that I got was actually increasing in value. Oh Allah, I played them at their own game, even though I couldn't defeat them at the game. Oh Allah, I tried my best to get out of the game, and I tried my best to get out of the system, and I woke the people up, and I told the people about the system so that they do not see it as normal, so they have this hatred in their heart for it, because oh Allah, it was used to kill your servants, it was used to mislead your servants. You are far better than any of their scholar, you are far better than any of those people that engage in that aspect over there. You will have a better standing on the Day of Judgment than any of these people, because whether they like it, those that endorse the financial system have bloods on their hand. They have blood on their hand. Riba is evil. The one who engages in it, the one who writes it, the one who is involved in it, every aspect. Do you know why? Because all those aspects, they are engaged in oppressive nature, something oppressive. Financial system is oppressive. The one who normalizes it, he is cursed. The one who's going to promote it, he is cursed. The one who's going to act like it's all good, he is cursed. The one who's going to say this is the only standard that should be followed, and the people now have to follow this, he is cursed. Alcohol, the one who sells alcohol, the one who drinks alcohol, the one who's involved in the manufacturing of alcohol, all those people are cursed. Why? Because alcohol is an oppression to mankind. Tell me this is not oppression to mankind. Tell me this is not oppression to mankind. It's far better for you to drink all the alcohol in the world than it is for you to be engaged in the killing of your Muslim brothers and sisters. It is far better for you to drink every single drop of alcohol on the face of this earth than it is for you to kill your Muslim brothers and sisters and have their blood spilt. So whilst these people, all their savings and all they're in slavery and they're enslaved and they're attacked and whatever happens to them happens to them, let it be. They choose their way. Let them choose their way. Let them choose their way. They shouldn't cry, but let them choose their way. Do you understand? Imagine, America was in so much debt. Real gold, they couldn't pay the real gold. So what they just said is we're going to leave the gold standard. You know, the US dollar is basically worthless, and that's how we're going to pay our debt. Imagine someone did that 1,000 years ago. They would have said, you are stupid. But today, people are going to make Islamic rulings based on top of it. How do you make Islamic rulings on top of something that's stupid? It's stupid. It doesn't exist. It's an illusion. Something that doesn't exist. Someone's going to come to me and say, Ya Sheikh, there's why. What is the ruling on this? I'm going to say, there's no ruling on that. You're talking utter nonsense. There's nothing on that thing. That's nonsense. You're not even talking about something. There's nothing that you're talking about. Someone's going to come, Ya Sheikh, US dollar, what is the ruling on forex trading US dollar to GBP, Ya Sheikh? Haram, 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 haram. You don't know what haram is, you don't know what halal is. Shaitan has misconstrued your entire awareness and understanding and fathoming of what haram and halal is. You've made what haram halal and you made haram halal. Allah. So, I hope you understand this first. I hope the first thing you understand, financial system, yeah? The base is no value. It is an IOU nothing. It's an IOU. That's what fiat currency is. But do you know what the Federal Reserve, one of the heads of the Federal Reserve said in the 19 something? Do you know what he said? He basically said that the fiat currency is an IOU nothing. Nothing. Why? Because I can go to my printer, press 1 trillion, press enter, there you go. Does that actually mean I owe you anything? No, it means I owe you nothing. The whole financial system, there's no value, there's no worth. It's no value, no worth. That's why from its inception, it's devalued 98%. Your sheikh wouldn't tell you this because your sheikh doesn't understand. It's mad. It's mad. We live in a world where the sheikhs don't even know how the financial system operates. Even though every single person around the world, the majority of the people in the world, they are dealing with a financial system. Imagine not having knowledge on something that the majority of the people in the world deal with. How stupid are you supposed to be? How stupid are you supposed to be? Imagine going to someone 1,000 years ago and him not understanding nothing to do with gold and silver and nothing to know with the business and trade. Nothing. Doesn't know anything about anything. How stupid are you supposed to be? How can you supposedly care for the people and I want khair and goodness for the people when you don't even understand what the majority of the people engage in and how it operates and how it works? You don't even know that. So how can you say you care for them? Ajib, gharib, strange. Number one, it has no value, it has no worth. Do not give worth and do not give value to it. If someone gave me a piece of paper today, I could burn that. And what? I can burn that piece of paper and what? It's valueless, it has no worth. Now, if you want gold and do research on hyperinflation in Zimbabwe, okay, in Venezuela, in Weimar Republic. Go do your research. Hyperinflation in Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Weimar Republic. Do you not know how worthless their currency became? Their currency became so worthless that tissue paper, yes, was worth more than their currency. Tissue paper, you know the tissue paper you use? You know the tissue paper that people use? Whether it's to clean the tables or clean whatever. In that era, tissue paper was more expensive than the currency, the paper money they had, the fiat currencies they had. So do you know what some people did? They used it for toilet. You know the money, you know the fiat currency that people kill each other for and they burn and they harm and they attack and they kill? It was used in the toilet and it was burnt to heat the people up. Because they couldn't actually afford the blocks of wood. The blocks of wood, the tree, the wood was so expensive they couldn't afford it. So they have wheelbarrows. Okay? They literally had wheelbarrows. However wheelbarrow looks like, of cash. Paper money. One guy is going to come to you and he's going to say, I have 1 trillion, Venezuelan peso or whatever it's called. I have 1 trillion. He's got all this in a wheelbarrow. And it's nothing. No value, no worth. So don't ever think that your Great British Pound, your United States dollar, your euros, your yen, your Swiss franc, any of that has any value. No value, no worth. Go look at hyperinflation in Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Weimar Republic. They can do the same thing that they did in these countries to your country and devalue your currency. And the next thing you know, you're going to have a wheelbarrow full of cash and you can't even buy one bread. You can't even buy one bread. Even though you have 1 trillion Venezuelan pesos or whatever the Venezuelan currency is. One bread, you can't even buy one bread for 1 trillion. Because it's a lie, it's a game. You don't have 1 trillion. You're broke. You don't actually have anything of value, anything of wealth. This is the real world. Bread, gold, silver, real minerals, weapons, iron, steel. These are real things. This is the real world, okay? This is a fake world. It's a fake world. Don't make it real. Don't normalize it. Don't legitimize it. Don't make it out to seem like this is a financial system. Don't try to give Islamic rulings based upon this. There is no Islamic rulings based upon this whatsoever. There's no Islamic rulings based on this whatsoever. Imagine they're using it to clean themselves in the toilet and burn it to get some heat from it. And you're trying to talk about honor your religion. If you're going to honor your religion, don't try to dishonor it. No value, no worth. Whatever anyone tells you, any person from the east to the west, there is no value in the fiat currency system and there is no worth in the fiat currency system. If they tell you otherwise, wallahi, wabillahi, watallahi, they have lied to you. And I will stand in opposition to them on the Day of Judgment. Whatever their name is, however old they are, however many of them there is, I could not care less who their mother is, and who their father is, and what their lineage is, and what country they're from. I could not care less. They have lied to you. Do you want me to show you how they oppress you with the current financial system, if you want to call it that? I'll show you how they oppress you. I'll show you how they oppress you. They oppress you from so many different ways. Inflation is one. Stagnation, inflation, deflation, whatever you want to call it, they get to you from so many different sides and so many different angles. In the 1970s, okay, there was a house. Let's say there was a house in 1970. It was 4 times the annual salary. Annual salary. 4 times the annual salary, 1970s. 2024, you try to buy a house, it's about 16 times the annual salary, around there. Okay? The houses have remained the same. A house is a house. A 3-bedroom house 200 years ago is a 3-bedroom house 200 years later. A house is a house. But apparently, something is changed in the world. Something is changed. What is that that's changed? It's now more expensive. It's not that it's more expensive, my brother. It's that, number one, the salary that you're earning every year, yes, depreciates. And I don't even want to use the word depreciation, because depreciation is on something that has value. This has no value, no worth. They use these terms. This is how they play the game. I'm just telling you how the game is played, okay? Your salary every year depreciates. Every year. So a 30,000 a year salary, 30,000 a year salary in 1970 is not the same as a 30,000 a year salary in 2024. Do you understand? So if you're earning 30,000, my brother, compared to back then, you are earning considerably a lot less than these people were in the 1970s. Why? Because your salary every year, or your currency every year depreciates. So maybe your £1 or your $1 can get you in 1970 will not be able to get you in 2024. It won't. Your purchasing power decreases. Purchasing power decreases. It decreases, my brother. You know? People are crying that things are getting expensive, but they're not crying that their own currency is devaluing, and that's what's making everything more expensive. If they were to cry because of that, they would have been crying because of the foundation of the financial system. But they're not going to cry because of that. They're going to cry because the house is 16 times more expensive. But they won't cry that their £1 is like 98% devalued, 98% depreciated. He's not going to cry because of that. But he's literally working every day to get that. So at least cry about that. If you're going to cry about something being expensive, you cry about that. You're literally losing value. It's not like there was any value anyways. So every year your currency depreciates. Your purchasing power decreases. Every year there is inflation. There is inflation. Inflation means these things, the assets and all of these things are going to increase. It's going to increase. Which means, but you know what's funny? Your salary is far less than it was in 1970, but every year things are increasing. So this is how this is how it is. The worth of things, okay, things which are like bread, food, assets, property, house, gold, it increases year after year. but your salary in real terms every single year is decreasing. It's decreasing. So you see that gap? You see that gap? People keep getting poorer and poorer and poorer. Why? Because things will keep getting more expensive, more expensive, more expensive. They're not getting expensive. They're just playing around with your financial system. But you see, as these things go up year after year, your currency is going to go down year after year. It's going to go down year after year. Is it clear so far? Before I move on, is it clear? And all of this is verifiable. If you want to go verify it for yourself, you can verify every aspect that I'm speaking about in this. Every aspect that I'm speaking about in this, if you want to verify it, say Alhamdulillah, you have the knowledge and you have the information available to verify all of this. So as your salary decreases, your currency decreases, your dollar decreases, everything else increases. So what's going to happen? You will get poorer and poorer and poorer. Why do you think more people are poor today in 2024 than they were poor in 1970? More people were rich in 1970 than 2024. Why? Because they just kept playing this game. Let me just earn my salary and maybe I'm going to one day be able to afford something, and let me just earn a salary and work 9 to 5, and let me one day retire when I'm 60 something years old. And whilst you see, look at this. Retirement is a game that forces these people to play 9 to 5 until they're 60. But by the time they're 60, everything is expensive. They can't afford nothing. They can barely afford anything. That's why retirement is a game that is just to deceive the people, to mentally deceive them, to play the game so long. And whilst everything is going down, all the assets and everything is going up, and they're becoming poorer. Their children are becoming poorer. Their wives are becoming poorer. Their children, everyone's becoming poorer. Their parents are becoming, everyone's becoming poorer. Do you understand? Okay, let's go and talk about, look, this is a house, this is a house, okay, 1970, 2024. In 1970, a house was around 100 ounces, 100 ounce of gold, okay, 100 ounce of gold. It's around there, roughly. In 2024, if you want the same house in like the same area, guess how much the house is? 100 ounce of gold. So in those 50 years, if you were to price your house in gold, it would have remained the same. In comparison to if you were to measure your house in fiat currency, which is literally all this mess here, enslaving people, making them poorer, making others richer than richer, harming people. Whilst all that's going on, gold doesn't allow that. Do you now understand why the Prophet said gold for gold, silver for silver? Do you understand why the Prophet spoke about gold as money? Because you can't manipulate it as much as you can manipulate fiat currency. And you can't oppress the people as much as you can oppress them with fiat currency. And you cannot harm them. And the rich cannot get richer and the poor cannot get poorer. Do you understand? So why is the house in 1970 that was around 100 ounces of gold the same house today that's 100 ounces in gold? Why is it the same? Why is it the same? We'll go back 1,400 years ago. Let's say 1,400 years ago. There's a sheep, yeah? And let's say 1,400 years later, there's a sheep. The same amount of gold it took to buy that one sheep, 1,400 years later, is the same amount to buy that one sheep. So why is it in 1,400 years ago, you haven't lost your purchasing power, your currency hasn't devalued, it hasn't depreciated? Why is it for 1,400 years, gold can survive, but the fiat currency can't even survive for 50 years? Why is it for 50 years it's devaluing for 50 years? Why? For what reason? Why is it in gold terms, 1,400 years ago, if you wanted to buy a sheep, it's literally the same today. Where is the inflation? Where is the inflation? Tell me where the inflation is. Where's the inflation? That is why the United States dollar wanted to remove themselves from gold, because you can't manipulate gold. Be as big as the United States, have the biggest army like the United States, be as militarily powerful as the United States. Even you know the fact that gold for 1,400 years ago couldn't be manipulated. They thought they were so mighty and so powerful and so strong, but they are not stronger than gold itself. They cannot, they will not, they have not. Because if you're in debt, 100 ounces of gold, yeah, and you've got property maybe, bro, you can wait 50 years, your gold is going to get you the same amount 50 years ago. Your debt, yes, is the same. That's why, if I'm going to ever give you a loan, my brother, my loan would be in gold. And I'm going to say, I'm going to loan you out 1 kilo of gold. Okay? I want my 1 kilo of gold back. I want my 1 kilo of gold back. You can try do all the bank things, try buy properties, try buy assets, try buy this, try buy that. Brother, I want my 1 kg of gold back. I don't care. And if you lived in a society where properties are measured and paid for in gold. 1 second. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, if everything was to be measured and paid for in gold, if everything was to be measured in gold, they couldn't, number one, they can't hide away from debt. You can't hide from debt. Okay? You can't hide. You can't manipulate it. You can't manipulate it. Okay? You can't manipulate it. You can't hide from it. You just can't do these things. But when everything is measured in fiat currency, and I owe you a debt, bro, I can manipulate. I can go and put that money into something and then play around with it and then get 10 times more from another thing and then get 50 times more from something else and then get another 30,000 more. By the time I'll give you your money back, I've already made so much from your money. Bro, with gold, you cannot do that. So when your sheikh is trying to say gold for gold, silver for silver, is US dollar and GBP, tell him you are a kadhab, you're a liar, and you're a jahil, you're an ignoramus. That's what you are. You cannot compare this, something that's lasted for over 1,400 years, into something that can't even last for 50 years. Don't ever, ever, ever try to equate that which the Prophet said with your illusions and your delusions and what America said. I could not care less what America have said. Could not care less one bit what America has said. So, in 1970, my brother, if you were working and all your money you put into gold, yeah, you put into gold, and let's say the worth of the property you had in gold, and now it's 2024, this now is 600k, the property is 600,000. The same amount of gold that you had from 1970, the value of that gold is now exactly the same as that house. So what you're going to do, you're going to sell that gold, and then you're going to buy that house, which isn't really smart. But you're going to sell that gold, and then you're able to afford. Whilst everyone's saying there's cost of living crisis, I can't afford the property. How is the house price 600,000? How are people going to afford 600,000? Don't worry, my brother. Play the game. Don't even play the game. Leave the entire game, and you won't even be affected. If you don't even play the game, i.e., you just deal with gold, you're not involved in their illusions, delusions, games, and all these people crying about cost of living crisis and inflation and the interest rate and all of these. You're not even involved in that, my brother. Look at this. Bread. Bread costs, let's say, 1 ounce of gold. It doesn't, but let's say hypothetically bread costs 1 ounce of gold. Yeah? Hyperinflation now happens. Hyperinflation. Yeah? Where the currency is now valueless. Which is really the original state of all currencies right now. But again, hyperinflation happens like Venezuela, Zimbabwe, whatever. Bread before used to be £1 in Great British pounds, yeah? Hyperinflation has now happened. £1 is now worthless. It means nothing. Bread now is £10 million. This is what hyperinflation does. Hyperinflation literally ruins the entire financial system. One bread that was before, yeah? And after hyperinflation, the bread is 10 million. But you were working and you were getting paid in £1, my brother. And you were normalizing £1 because everyone was buying bread for £1. Hyperinflation has happened. Bread is 10 million. My brother, you don't have 10 million, you only got £1. Meaning, that £1, my brother, won't be even able to get you zilch. You would need 10 million of this, yeah, to get this. So what you could have got for 1 before, you now need 10 million to get 1. And you understand mathematically, this is what oppression is. This is oppression. This is dhulm. But, I've always got good news for you. The bread that was 1 ounce of gold before hyperinflation is the same bread that's 1 ounce today. So whilst this person is running and he's crying, my children, how am I going to feed my children? How am I going to look after my family? I don't even have 10 million, what am I going to do? The guy who has gold, he'd be like, oh, bread is 1 ounce, here's my 1 ounce. The price has not changed whatsoever. The price has not changed whatsoever. So let's say 1 ounce was worth £1 before hyperinflation. Do you know how much 1 ounce of gold is going to be worth after hyperinflation? 10 million. So whilst everyone's crying, saying I can't afford to buy bread, I can't get water, I can't get things for my family, the guy who had gold, nothing's changed for him. He's like, oh wow, it's 10 million. Yikes, that's going to affect a lot of people. But then again, a lot of people wanted to play the game, but they were stupid at the game, and now they're losing the game. Game over, you can't buy food, your parents are crying, you're crying, your children are crying, everyone's poor. Sorry. But the guy who's got gold is just there, he's chilling, living, because he ain't a part of your system, whether you like it or not. He's not a part of your system. He's not a part of your system. So do you see the oppression, my brother? Do you see it? If not, go outside and speak to people and ask them about it. They will speak to you about it. And listen to those who have lost millions overnight. Speak to those people, my brother. Speak to them. Speak to them. You now understand and see the oppressive nature of this system. And if you choose to play the game, how oppressive it can be, my brother, do you now understand? If you're going to play the game, don't be stupid. I will say, do your best and make dua that Allah will allow us to reach a state and a position where we completely exit the game. We're like, listen, we're not characters within a game, we're going to exit it. Okay, we're going to exit it. Like these people, they exit it as well, okay? But if we cannot exit it, let us not be stupid and dumb. Let us not be stupid and dumb. Is that clear to you? Everything you were told about student loans and all other types of loans was a lie. Everything they told you about riba was a lie. Everything they told you about the financial system was a lie. They lied in regards to everything and everything and everything, my brother. And they were focused on an illusion, whilst the disbelievers were focused on the real world. And we suffer in the real world, but we should be proud in our delusions. We suffer in the real world, but we should be proud in our delusions. Insurance, they lie to you about insurance. They lie to you about student loans. They lie to you about bank loans. They lie to you about everything. They lie to you about everything. And that's why we are where we are, my brother. We are humiliated as we are because we have been lied to. Look at this, my brother. If we all left this financial system, what does it mean to leave the financial system? It means not accepting it, not believing it, okay? Not dealing in it, and seeing everyone who deals with it as crazy, gamers, and foolish. That's it. If we all did this, there wouldn't be a person who's going to work to make a F-16 fighter jet. And there wouldn't be a person to go and fly the F-16 fighter jet. And there wouldn't be a person to bomb with the F-16 fighter jet. And there wouldn't be a person who would give oil to be used for F-16 fighter jet. Wouldn't. There wouldn't. There wouldn't be money to make propaganda, to turn the minds of the people off. There wouldn't be money for the media to mislead your brothers and your sisters. There wouldn't be money that would influence the people's inner depth, their inner nafs, their inner desires of greed, of ego, of jealousy, of anger and hatred. They have anger and hatred just because you have more of something that is nothing. They want to kill you because you have more of something which is nothing. Look at how it has exposed the people. They will sacrifice their honor and their dignity and their shyness and their humility for money that is not even a thing, which means their humiliation is nothing. Their shyness and their shame is valueless. Their honor and their dignity is worthless. If someone sacrifices something that cannot be purchased for something that can be purchased, then they do not possess it whatsoever. If someone sells their religion for a few pounds and dollars and Swiss francs and yen, they did not possess it. Do you understand? They did not possess it. They left the religion. And after leaving the religion, they said, I'm going to sell my religion for like £5 million. Can you give me £5 million and I'm going to leave my religion? You left the religion already. But if we left this financial system, we wouldn't reward people that do criminal activities, i.e. drugs, prostitution, you name it. Because these people are what? They're getting paid heavily by this financial system. But gold cannot be printed like US dollars. So everything of this would go down. And corruption would go down. Corruption would go down. But if we just keep it as it is, and we just leave it as it is, and we just remain where we are, you best believe they're going to make F-16 fighter jets. You best believe someone's going to buy Lockheed Martin stocks because he knows America is going to then give money to Israel, which is then going to buy Lockheed Martin jets, which then is going to skyrocket the price of the stock, which means he gets more of the money in his back pocket, and he's happy, he's laughing. My Lockheed Martin stock has now gone up 40%. But he doesn't know in real life that Lockheed Martin F-16 fighter jet is going to blow a baby into pieces. But he's laughing because it went up by 40%. My portfolio is up 40%. It wouldn't do this. But we allow it, and we accept it, and we normalize it, we legitimize it. Best believe that guy is going to keep getting happy. 40%, 50%. You know, in Afghanistan, for the years that these disbelievers were in Afghanistan, yes, when they were killing our brothers and their sisters and they were slaughtering thousands and hundreds of thousands and even millions, they were slaughtering, yes, in Afghanistan. In America, there was this fat guy in America, some fat guy in America he put his money in stocks like Lockheed Martins and Raytheon and BAE Systems and all these weapon manufacturing companies. And in that 20 years, his portfolio skyrocketed over 100%, over 1,000%. And he's happy after 20 years. After 20 years, when the businesses were bombed and the children were killed and the women were slaughtered, that fat guy in America who has this portfolio is happy. He's happy because his portfolio is up 1,000%. He says, I love Lockheed Martin. I love Raytheon. These guys have made me millionaires. You stupid fat fool. You're not a millionaire. You actually are worth nothing. You're valueless. You have nothing. And you're happy over something that is behind the slaughtering and the killing of your people. Do you not understand how you're being enslaved? You're being made to accept this slaughtering. You're being made to accept this slavery. You're being made to accept all of this. And you're happy and you're delighted and you're laughing. So don't be sad when you're enslaved. And don't be sad when the bombs turn around and they go on you, fat guy. Don't be sad one bit. When your children are bombed and your children are harmed and your children are killed and slaughtered, you have no moral ground to stand on anything because you sacrificed all your morals for Lockheed Martins and Raytheon stock shares to go up 1,000%. You've got no say on any moral ground on anything. If your parent was to be killed, if your mother was to be slaughtered with a tiny little knife, you have no foot to stand on whatsoever, and even be sad. Don't be sad. Don't be sad, you should be laughing, because who knows, Raytheon made that knife that's going to slaughter your mum, and guess what, you're going to have 1,000% shares is going to go all the way up. Laugh like you laugh right now when children are being slaughtered. Laugh. You understand? So, we should, have a great form of hatred for it. Even if we deal in it, even if we act upon it, even if we're forced to trade with it, we should hate it. We should hate it. May Allah reward us for our hatred. May He forgive us for our hatred. May He increase us in becoming closer to Him with our hatred. We hate it, sincerely and truthfully. But if we don't leave the financial system, do you know what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. Your sheikh is not going to tell you because he doesn't understand. Your sheikh says, that cryptocurrency is haram, Bitcoin is haram. You think your sheikh knows anything about the future of the finances of the world? Do you think your sheikh knows where the finances are going? Do you think he knows where the system is heading towards? He doesn't know. He didn't know. He doesn't know. He won't know. Okay, I'll tell you where the financial system is heading. Digital. The financial system is heading digital. You know what digital means? You go on your phone, your little phone, and then you go to your bank account on your phone. And then, on the bank account, you see £5,000 on your bank account. This £5,000 on your bank account is just a digit on a screen. It's a number on a screen. Right now, this £5,000 means you can go to the bank and you can take out £5,000 in cash. You try to do that, they're going to ask you questions. Money laundering, why are you taking out 5,000? What's the purpose of this spending? What are you going to do? This is your own money, but the bank is going to interrogate you as if it's their money, because the reality is it's their money anyways. They control the financial system. You don't. You're a peasant, just like you and I. So, this indicates you have 5,000 in cash. But what happens when cash is eroded from the society and it's all digital? It means you will go into the bank one day, you will say, can I take £5,000 in cash? Then the person working in the bank will say, sorry, we don't deal with cash anymore. We don't deal with cash anymore. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Don't you know that we left cash years ago? Where have you gone? What happened to you? What do you mean cash? Cash is a thing of the past. We left cash long time ago. So the entire world's financial system is going to go digital. Okay? CBDC, you name it, crypto, you name it. It's all digital currencies. Digital currencies. If you thought you were a slave with the fiat currency of 5,000 in cash, Allah is my witness, you are truly a slave when 5,000 becomes digital. Because digital is not a thing. I don't care if anyone says it's a thing. It's not a thing. They're lying to you. It's a number on the screen. How have man gone from 1,400, 2,000 years of real money, real gold, and in a few years, they're accepting numbers on a screen. They're accepting numbers on a screen. You know, you could go to your web page on your bank account on the computer, yeah? And you could go to like the way the page is designed, and then if you want, you can just change that 5,000, the coding, and then you just put 5 trillion, you press enter, and on the page is going to show you have 5 trillion. 5 trillion. Does that mean you have 5 trillion? No! Just like it doesn't mean you got 5,000. Do you not understand? So, they're moving towards digital currency. What does digital currency mean? It means, number one, the bank can control your money, if you want to call it money, because everyone wants to just call everything money. My socks that I'm wearing is actually more money than this thing, this entire financial system. This is real. This is taken from cotton. This is taken from something that took time to grow, okay? And someone had to knit it and manufacture it, okay? The real value went into this. This has more real value than the entire financial system of the United States today. My socks has more value and worth than the entire financial system of the United States today. Your bank can control your money with digital currency. What does that mean? If you have 5,000 in the bank, and let's say you spoke out against the government, or you do what I'm doing right now, you speak the truth, because they control the software, they can turn that 500 on a screen, the way you can change the code and make it a 5 trillion, they will say 0. So then you're going to go to the shop, you're going to try to buy food, you're going to try to scan because you think you've got 5,000. Error. You know, game over. This is game over. When I talk about game over, this is game over. It's going to say error. You're going to say, what? What's wrong? Why can't I buy this bread? You're going to try to look at your account. You're on 0 and you're devastated. How am I going to pay my rent? Of course you're not going to pay your rent. You're going to be kicked out. How am I going to buy food? You're not going to buy food. You're going to starve. What? So if I speak the truth, I'm going to get 0. Yes. So I'm going to stop speaking the truth so I can get my 5,000 and I can pay my rent and I can buy food. Oh really? Oh really? Oh really? So they can control. Number 2, the bank will see everything you spend it on. I mean, they can see it now. But right now, if you get cash, discreetly, you get the cash out. You get 5,000 out from the bank. Then you spend that cash in certain places. The bank, unless they check the CCTV cameras of all the shops in the world, they won't really know where you're putting your cash in. When the cash is removed and it's all digital, they will see everything that you purchase. They will say, your name is Ahmed. They will say, Ahmed, from January to February, Ahmed bought 15 kilos of meat. Ahmed has gone over limit for the meat consumption. Ahmed only had a limit of 5 kilos of the month, but Ahmed actually went overboard with 15 kilos. Ahmed, we're going to have to punish you somehow. How are we going to punish you? For the next few months, Ahmed, we're going to make sure you can't buy meat. Do you know why? Number 3, the money is going to be programmable, which means even though you still have 5,000 in the bank, they can program that 5,000 to mean you can't buy meat. You can't buy meat. So let's say you go to the halal meat shop, okay, and you say, Akhi, can I get 1 kilo of this? He's going to say, of course. You're going to go try to pay with your digital cash. It's not going to go through. You're going to go into look at your bank, and it's going to say, meat limit has reached. Your meat limit has reached. You can't get more meat. So what are you going to do, my brother? You're going to run with a bag of meat and run home. What are you going to do? Money is programmable. So they can influence your behavior. They will watch your behavior. They will control your behavior. They will influence your behavior. They will watch your behavior. They will control your behavior. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, not only will they see, not only will they influence, not only will they control, ultimately you'll be a slave. A slave. But someone's going to cry. You know, when they go to digital and everything's digital, there's no cash left. Someone's going to cry. Your sheikh is going to be a slave and he's going to cry. Yeah? Your parents are going to cry because they're going to be slaves. Your children are going to cry because they're slaves, and you're going to sit down by yourself one day and say, how did it get to this point? How did it get to this point? Yeah, how did it get to this point? My sheikh, who I looked up to all this time, how did he become a slave? Where everything that he does is monitored, is controlled, programmable, it's seen, no privacy. Poor sheikh, he's teaching us about privacy and how the wives' privacies and the women have to have privacies, but then the sheikh is not private anymore. The sheikh is a slave now. Okay. Looks like the live wants to end again on 1 minute 30. I'll end it and then I'll come back once more, and that will be the final one, inshallah.